Right, so today's dream. So this was from the 3rd of December 2024. This one I'm going to call Temple Unearthed. Okay, and that was the most interesting part of the dream. This is packed with quite a few different celebrities in it, so I've got to be very careful about how I use the describe who that person is, so you know who it is without it being too obvious and it causing any kind of like problems with the video itself. Okay, so I'm going to try and code it, but try and do it in a way that makes it quite obvious as to who I'm talking about. Okay, so how it starts, it goes kind of straight into it. Is that the dream starts with the news that a certain pop star celebrity, very popular, has just unalived themselves. Okay, he's checked himself out, and this celebrity, their first name is Justin, and their surname starts with a T. Okay, so that's the only clues I can really give. Yeah, so he's just unalived himself. Okay, so and it's linked to some kind of controversy in his personal life, and he took an overdose basically just to check out. He didn't want to deal with um, the 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 fallout from all the personal life coming up. Um, and I later dreamed about another celebrity, and this celebrity is a white rapper who was in the film 8 Mile. So you should know who that is. Okay, so this celebrity was posing with his top off. Okay, and he was surrounded by cameras. And it was like it was a photo shoot. Um, and it was in that sort of environment where myself and others, which I can only assume were like their crew, the filming crew, all that kind of stuff, I guess. He was kind of like almost like against a, like a photo shoot sort of background thing, and then there's loads of cameras all snapping and stuff like that, and I'm kind of part of the crew and everybody that's around. I'm just kind of like there watching, I guess, what's going on, and then um, later a dream about actually meeting another celebrity that I met and I talked with as well. There's a couple more celebrities that I'll go into, um, but it was the environment that was really weird. All right, so because at some point I come outside of where we are and I realise where we are. So I seem to be staying. So it's like I was living in a house. So I was living in a house. It was quite a big house, but it was on a residential estate, which was really strange. And it was in the UK. I knew it was in the UK. So yes, I'm staying in a residential house, just a big one. There's loads of people just going about their standard day. So you've got like, as I'm outside, there's people like, somebody like walking their dog, and there's just down the end of the street I can see like kids playing in the road and stuff like that. It's just completely normal, completely normal. It wasn't super rich as far as an area, but I would say it was clearly an expensive area to live because of all of the houses were big houses. Like sort of like 5 bed, 6 bed, maybe 4 bed houses, all detached. It was an expensive area to live in, clearly. Um, and but it was very quiet, and it almost felt like quite early morning as well. The day was kind of like super, like quite overcast and very low light level. Well, quite or overcast, a little bit darker. Than it wasn't a bright day. Um, and I was basically in this scene that I was watching. I was actually parked up in my car. And we were parked up on the drive of this house. And as I said, there was crew outside, there was crew inside that were filming, and I was outside, and I was sat next to my dad, and we were sitting in the car talking. And as I was parked up, for some reason, then the car. This is without any kind of warning. The car then just sort of slumps down and then rolls and yeah, just rolls off where I was parked, and it was because the ground fell away from where we were. It just the ground was sort of collapsed, and yeah, we went sort of sliding down and into this massive crack, and we must have fallen down probably about 30 to 40 feet. So not a massive problem in getting out, but deep enough that it would certainly be a bit of a problem. And and so the car drops, and obviously it just gets wrecked by this drop. And then we're both absolutely fine. It's not too big a drop that it's caused massive injury or anything, or any injury, to be fair. But we've got no idea what's just suddenly happened. But so we get out the car. And we've noticed that this it's not like there was an earthquake or anything like that. By the way, there wasn't an earthquake. It was just like a almost like you hear of like a sinkhole. Just suddenly the earth just opens up and swallows cars that just are driving along the road. The ground just collapses. It was kind of like that. I mean, it was on a much smaller scale. It was the collapse was not that big that it could swallow up more than maybe a couple of cars, 3 cars. This thing that just collapsed. And what was interesting is, obviously, as we got out of the car, there was actually how would I describe it? It had exposed a structure that was underneath this completely normal looking house. Okay. And I was kind of thinking, well, maybe all these houses were built on some sort of ancient ruins of some kind. And yeah, these ancient structures, and we started to sort of clamber over all these kind of this obviously everything's collapsed. We're sort of like clambering over the car and kind of like rocks and bits and pieces, and we could see the front of this structure. And I seem to remember it had some sort of language across the front. It almost looked like Greek or whatever you want to picture, really. It wasn't English, okay? So some sort of ancient sort of language across the top. And we're looking inside, and you can look inside and you can see in all the way into this structure. It's like almost we kind of came out on what may be the ground level of this structure, or it could be that there's more layers and levels below. But yeah, so it opens up into this structure. Now, what we got a real sense for was this structure was actually still still in use, because we got a sense of distant voices or something like that we could hear, not from up above in the house or from the people outside, but people inside. You could hear the direction of the sound, and there was just general kind of noise and stuff like that. It was almost like looking into an underground car park, if that makes sense. It was big and open, and it didn't have high ceilings, but it was quite deep, quite wide, that you could see in. But you couldn't really see a great deal within it. But as I said, because of this sort of front sort of part that had all these these kind of symbols and stuff, it wasn't like a standard English alphabet. It wasn't, like you would look at a Greek alphabet or a, hieroglyphics or something like that. It was kind of that sort of thing. So I knew it was ancient, obviously, because it was buried. And oddly, in the UK, obviously, you wouldn't expect to see anything Greek or Egyptian or anything like that anyway. But again, I don't think that was really too much the point of it. It was just the point of getting across the point that this was an ancient structure that was actually in use to some extent. Okay, and we climbed in this ancient structure, and we started exploring. What was strange was while we did, as I said, we didn't hear any one we could specifically identify necessarily. We had this sense of the area was, this was actually still in use. So as I just sort of mentioned, like distant voices, maybe I didn't hear distant voices. Maybe it was just I just very much had maybe there was like lights on, as an example. Like, it was something to indicate that this structure was still in use. And I think there was some sort of lights on or lamps on or something like that, like fire lamps. There was something like that. As I said, it very much had a temple vibe to it, like some sort of ancient temple, but that was still in use. And then it went to another scene. So I was then meeting another celebrity. So the celebrity I'd been talking with in her bedroom, but it was almost like a makeup room, where she was getting herself ready to be filmed, in this house. But again, they were using it as a place to film various different things. They weren't doing films, but this person was a film star. It wasn't for films, but she was kind of getting herself all ready, a mirror, putting on makeup and stuff like that. And I was just sort of standing there, again, like a crew member, sort of saying, are you getting on? We're gonna be going on stage soon. It was that kind of thing, but it was. But again, I don't know whether I was a crew member, but or where I was just I'm just living there, and I just decided to just walk in on her in her room, while she's getting ready to go on stage. I've no idea. Yeah, yeah. I mentioned the fact. When you sometimes reveal things to people in a kind of, what's the word? You're kind of overwhelmed by seeing somebody, and you might say something really stupid. You think, "Why did I say that?" That's what I did with this woman, this film actress who was in there. And I said to her, I mentioned the fact that I had a massive crush on her when I was young, because she was in the film The Mask. She's the only character in the film The Mask. She's got long blonde hair. First name's Cameron. I won't give you any more detail than that, obviously. And yeah, she's in the film The Mask. And I mentioned to her, oh, I went and saw the film that you were in like several times. It was actually to do with the music. I really loved the music in it, but I did have a massive crush on her as well. And as this was it was a very very small little interaction just to introduce another celebrity. She she didn't really seem very happy. I got a sense of she wasn't feeling really happy. She was putting her makeup on and stuff, but it was kind of like begrudgingly sort of put it on. Um, again, yeah, yeah. She just didn't feel. It didn't feel like she was happy. It was like, yeah. I won't go into any more than that. Um, but as I said, we were living in this house, that residential house, just in a residential estate, housing estate, and but it had been converted into this kind of celebrity house, I guess you would call it. Some rooms were bedrooms, genuine bedrooms, and then some were kind of like stages and things like what would be a lounge, I guess, was like a bigger film set, that kind of thing. And there was little filming areas, little photo shoot rooms and stuff you'd go into, and yeah, it kind of made me think of uh, almost like some sort of TV programs you see, where celebrities are, or even like members of the public which have got like good skills, are kind of their talents are fostered, and kind of pushed to the forefront, and people are watching it on TV. It felt like that kind of thing. And I've had another dream which is very similar to that, the Big Brother house, which was a UK thing. It came from Holland. It was a Dutch program initially, and I watched all the like, before it even came out in the UK. I watched all about it. I was really into Big Brother, and that was normal people that were thrown into a house, all different types of. They weren't celebrities; they were just general members of the public, but they all had very much different personalities, and it was just seeing that personality clash. They did challenges and stuff. So I did have another dream about that, which I may go through, but um, again, that back to this dream, but that's what this kind of felt like. So these were celebrities, but they were all in a house together, and they were filming, they were making content, etc., etc. Okay, so. And as I said, there's cameras inside, they're outside. There's a massive sprawling kind of film crew and support crew that are supporting this endeavour, to film all this kind of stuff in this quiet residential estate. Um, there was a fourth celebrity, so there's only four celebrities in total. So I've obviously talked about the three so far, that were mentioned, but there was only three in the house, but four celebrities mentioned. As I said, well, you know who I've mentioned. So I talked about the um, JT, let's say, who'd unalived himself through an overdose. You've got the white rap star who's in the film 8 Mile, and then you've got this film star called Cameron who was in the film The Mask. Okay, but at this bit, I'm being introduced to kind of like a fourth celebrity, and three of us, the ones that are in the house, we're all at a kitchen, in a sort of kitchen area, big sort of dining room table in there, and there's these celebrities, there's other people around as well, and we're all eating together. It's like we're on a break together. It's like a almost like a a kind of common sort of kitchen area that we're all eating our lunch together or dinner together, whatever it may be. So this fourth celebrity, male celebrity, but I can't remember who he was. But yeah, we're all sitting around this table, just chilling out, eating food, having drinks and stuff like that. Talking. Yeah, as I said, it's like the kitchen area in the house where we all came together just to sort of like hang out, again, like a communal sort of area. Anyway, this white rapper, the 8 Mile rapper, comes in again, and he's wearing a t-shirt this time. So obviously he was bare chested last time. This time he comes in, but he's really sweaty. Like you see him come in, and he's got like loads and loads of sweat on his t-shirt. So he pulls his t-shirt off again, and puts on a new one, and sits down at the table with everybody else. I seem to remember this other celebrity. This was again a black male guy, and he kind of came in and sat down, and he was dressed up really, really smartly. So unlike everybody else who was very, very casual, he was really smartly dressed. So he was wearing like a suit. He looked really sharp. Like it was a black suit, white shirt. It looked very, very smart. And but I didn't know for sure who that was. Now I kind of no, I don't know who it was. I don't know who it was. I mean, I will say that there was um, a massive, massive story about a black male celebrity whose past had been unearthed, let's say. Um, could it have been him? Maybe. But again, in full transparency, that had already happened by the time this dream. So if you want to look it up and think, oh, he's trying to claim it's this person, um, again, a black rap star, this one, and that he's trying to claim it. I'm not trying to claim it at all. So that's what I'm thinking. I don't know whether that's influencing when I think it might be, but it might not be that person. I'm not 100%. Um, I had a feeling that he was a little bit more overweight. He was a bit more of a bit bigger than that particular celebrity that I'm clearly describing. If you know what's been going on over the last year or so around big court cases to do with a black rapper, you'll know who I'm talking about. To do with a lot of sexual, alleged sexual exploitation, all that kind of stuff. Again, you'd be able to find that online easily and know who I'm talking about. But as I said, I don't think it was him. It might have been him, but it physically seemed a little bit different. So anyway, there was an odd bit taking place outside the front or the back garden, I couldn't really tell, where there was roughly 10 people that were sitting cross-legged on the grass. Now these were like normal people, these weren't celebrities at all. But they were sitting cross-legged on the grass, and then a few people then came out after they were all lined up and sat down. They then another set of I think more or less an equal number then came out, and they were then standing in front of them. So if you imagine like a line of people all sitting down cross-legged on the grass, another people then walking in and then standing in front of them like it's like a one-on-one sort of thing. And these people who are sitting down are looking up at the people that are standing there. Now I ended up being one of those that came in, but I was told that I had to be topless, which was a bit strange. So obviously we'd seen that, or I'd seen that again. The white male rapper was topless a couple of times, and they were all told they had these ones who were coming in all had to be topless, I guess, and like that celebrity had been, and because I'm sort of out of shape, am out of shape, I was kind of like embarrassed but complied, and I was kind of like sucking my stomach in and kind of pushing my chest out a little bit just because of who I was next to. I was thinking, oh, I really stand out, like I'm not in the best of shape, and so I just wanted to sort of not be so embarrassed in front of all these other people. And I can't remember whether any of the celebrities were in the lineup. They may have been. I'm not sure. They were all male though. All the ones who were lining up were male, so there wasn't any females that were expected to be topless. Um, but anyway, I'm going to go now into my thoughts. So after that dream, my thoughts, because obviously there's quite a few little bits to that. Some interesting bits. Hopefully, again, you found them kind of interesting. So there's multiple parts then, and the bit that stood out to me, or one of the bits that stood out to me, was the ancient ruins. And what does that mean? Well, immediately what came to mind was the film From Dusk Till Dawn, which is a vampire film, horror. And there's a bit right in the end scene. I haven't filmed the scene. Instead, I've just got a screenshot, which I'll pause the video slightly, get it all set up, and then show the image. It won't let me go full screen, so it'll still show the Google search and stuff, but you'll be able to see the image of what I'm trying to convey to you. Okay, but it shows the way that you've got a structure on top that's hiding a structure below. Okay, and it's an ancient structure as well. So that's what I mean. My mind went there immediately. And in that particular film, it's like a kind of like an Aztec sort of like pyramid structure. The all of these vampires were in the underground part, and the top part in the film is actually a bar, kind of like well a really seedy bar. It's like a biker bar that everybody goes to, and it's kind of like a topless bar sort of thing. So again, I wouldn't want to put any of that in there, but but it felt like that because of the way you see the picture, and you'll see that in a moment, is you see it from the back, whereas anyone coming up to the bar is just going to see the front, go in, park their cars, park their bikes up, go in, and then go home. What they don't see is behind, the cliff is all fallen away, and you see this massive pyramid that is hidden within this. It's a really cool scene. Like at the end of the film, you're just like, whoa. But again, not a film I would actually recommend people watch, because as I said, it's got loads of dodgy content in it. But this was back, I watched this years ago. I mean, I've only been saved for, since March of 2023. So, this is a long time ago in my past. But it obviously made me think of this film, where it was kind of like, it felt like, the ground had been opening up, and it was showing me, it was like, yeah, it's like, you wanted, it was exposing, kind of secrets were being unearthed, essentially. This was a temple. It was like they were using this temple in some way. What was going on in that temple, I didn't find out, whether there's anything sort of dodgy going on. But again, I knew it was a temple, and just knew it was a temple. Okay. Yeah, and it also made me think of, again, the explanation of the JT character, and how he had his past exposed, publicly. And that's what was happening here. This was exposing this temple publicly, because if anybody else walking by would have seen that the ground's just opened up, swallowed my car, and you can gain access to this temple. You can see what's actually lying beneath this, what you can actually see on the surface. Okay, so it felt, as do most dreams, it felt very symbolic. And it was, this temple was vast, so it's almost like it's almost like it was describing, this, they've got a big history that is concealed here. A lot's being concealed, because this structure was, as I said, I had the feeling that there was multiple layers to this. Is why this picture I'm going to show you kind of describes how it felt. It just felt like we were just unearthing just a small portion, just really some way to get into this structure. But this was a big structure, a really big structure. And it did also make me think of, is this whole housing estate on a big structure, or is it just that this celebrity building is above this structure, almost like it's yeah, I don't know how to describe it. Almost like there were, almost like they were worshipping ancient gods or something like that, and they were covering up, a bit like, you would have maybe, something built on top of another building to almost commemorate it. So it kind of made me think in a way, or when I'm saying it now, it makes me think of, to use Jerusalem as an example, oh, this is the place of where Jesus' tomb was. Right, let's build a church on top of it. Right, this is where this happened. Right, build a monument on top of that. This is where this happened. Right, build a church there. It was to kind of make sure that that landmark is never lost, and that it would be a place of not necessarily worship, but to visit and connect with the history of that place. That's what it kind of made me feel a bit like, and as I'm saying it out loud now, making me feel like that there's like this trying to connect with this ancient whatever it is. Okay. Anyway, blah 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 blah. Yeah, the other bit that I found was interesting. I mean, obviously, all these celebrities in this building and filming stuff and all being together and things like that. Was it that there was a collusion, between them? Let's say, because they're all together and there's this temple underneath. Is it because they're all hiding something? And I'm not saying these particular celebrities, but maybe, or maybe they just represented celebrity. Okay, so I'm not really sure. As I said, I've thrown out who they were in these dreams, but it doesn't mean that I'm specifically saying that there's something wrong with that particular person. But it felt like it, and it could, as I said, it could mean just overall celebrity, that there's a lot being hidden that we just do not know. Stuff going on, in the dark, like in this temple thing, or even maybe worship that we're not aware of, and those kind of things that maybe will be unearthed. Okay, so the other bit that was sort of interesting about it was this this line of people that came out, which I felt like were normal, sort of like normal people that were sitting down compliantly. So they were voluntarily sitting down, and it felt like a very submissive act that they were doing, and they were looking up at these people coming in. As I said, I can't remember if they were celebrities. If they were celebrities, then that would make a lot of sense. So it would be like the general public really looking up to celebrities, and also, given that we've got a temple there, maybe giving it godlike worship, that kind of thing. But I can't remember whether there was celebrities within the lineup. As I said, because it was a topless thing, I don't know whether that male rapper, the white male rapper that I'm talking about, maybe he was in the lineup, and again, that's maybe where I was sucking in my tummy and stomach, and kind of pushing my chest out, because obviously physically he's in really good shape, six pack, all of that, and he was obviously when he was walking around, he was super fit. Anyway, yeah, but as I said, it was. Yeah, that part was kind of interesting. As I said, the black celebrity, again, I got a feeling that this, well, I didn't actually get a feeling as to whether this guy was a rapper specifically. I just said that rapper when I was describing the person that I thought it could be, but I don't know that it was. I actually, now I think about it, and I didn't write this down, I actually got more of a feeling that he was almost like a celebrity pastor or somebody like that. Again, yeah, big guy. As I said, big black guy, smartly dressed, and I felt like, maybe he had connections with these kind of celebrities, mixes with these kind of celebrities, but his, again, maybe. Again, on the theme for this, maybe his past is going to come out. So really, that bit where I talk about, the male rapper that's been in the headlines and stuff like that, I don't actually think it was him. Like I said, the physicality didn't really stack up. But then after, when I was writing it, I was thinking, I wonder if that's what it is meant to be. But it wasn't the feeling I really got at the time. And even looking back now, it felt like to me that he was a kind of like mega pastor or somebody like that, that was the sort of person who brushes shoulders with celebrities. So that's it. Yeah, as I said, as far as obviously what I saw in that temple, it felt like I wrote down like an iceberg sort of thing. It was just, I only saw a little bit, but I feel like there was a lot more below it. Okay, so yes, I'm going to pause it now. I'm going to show you that image. I should have done that really a bit earlier. I'm just going to pause it now, do that image for you just real quick, and just because I just need to quickly set it up. It won't look great, but it's just so that I can describe it to you. Okay, so there you go. You can see it. So there you go. So from dusk till dawn pyramid. So you can see there, top center, you've got the bar at the top, And this is a sequence where you see all these cars and stuff all thrown off the edge of this cliff, but you see all of the ancient structure of that. Okay, so that's kind of sorry. Whoa. So that's basically all I wanted to sort of show was that's how in my mind I was kind of thinking this structure was. Okay, but yeah, that's really all I've got to sort of share on that. So if you've got your own kind of thoughts on it, feel free to obviously let me know. I thought it was really interesting. It's one that I kind of, because of the element that I mentioned about that celebrity, the white film star with the name JT. Film star, also pop music, and unaliving himself. I've had lots of dreams that have been very time sensitive, and if I'd got them out earlier, I'm pretty sure you would have. I might not have pinpointed who I thought it was when I had the dream, but then something happened and it was exactly the same as the dream, or very very close, very very close to the dream. So I wanted to get this out before anything did happen, just so you know that it was sort of dreamt up, and well, I had a dream and stuff beforehand. So if anything does come out, if anything big comes out, maybe this was the warning. Okay, right, so that's it on this one. A bit of a long video, but quite a bit of detail to this one, and but as I said, hopefully you found it interesting. Okay, on to the next.